I was lucky enough to win a big box of parts off eBay for 99p, and in there were these two things. Got very excited when I saw it said inline digital display and what looks like bulbs at the back. Someone's done a bit of a bodge repair on this one, but it works alright. They were made by Counting Instruments Limited, based in Boreham Wood in Hertfordshire. There's a fair bit about them online. You can see all the different products they made. I'll put some links below. Looking in the front of it though, I was a bit stumped of what type of display these were. It seemed like something was missing. Then at the bottom of the box I found these and it all started to make sense. Put a bit of power to these bulbs and hey presto, there is your digital display. It's a projection display. Let's take a closer look at that bulb array. You see immediately that it is dished, built up by these washers, and the reason why will become apparent when we start looking at the masks and the lenses. And I did notice that the two spacers that hold this bulb array out on the displays are different sizes, and I think it must have been because they was using different sized bulbs, and there is an ideal focal length for the lenses inside. With the bulbs out, you can see into this little block that they all slot into, and you can see the individual digit masks. To remove that masking block inside, there's two screws on either side, and from there our attention is drawn to this side plate that they're on, and there's no obvious reason to have that plate there, because if you slide it around you'll see there's nothing under there. The other end is held in by a pin and a spring clip arrangement, but they wouldn't have put it there for no reason, and the only thing I can think of is that it swings out and is used as some kind of mounting bracket. So we got this masking block out, and I think it's a cast piece which has been machined down. Fair bit of effort gone into making this, and the sides aren't actually square, they're kind of sloped in, and if you put it in the other way it won't fit. So now we can see the exposed rear lens and mask array, and notice there are 12 positions for digits, but of course we're only using 0 to 9, so there's 2 blank spaces in the corners. Looking in the front, you can see the final little mask that the light goes through, and it turns out this is quite important for making a sharp image. That was held in place by a bit of glue, but I did manage to persuade it to come out without too much destructive force. So now we can see the concave lenses that are going to project the light out and enlarge it on the screen. Isn't it pretty? And I was going to stop there because everything's held in pretty firmly by glue, but my reckless nature took over and I took a hairdryer to it and melted the glue down just enough to persuade them to come out. So here's a proper closer look at the first lens that the light goes through. It's got these convex lenses to intensify the light from the bulbs onto the digit masks, and here's the front projection lenses, and they must have been pretty proud of their handiwork because they've stamped a C and an I, which I'm guessing is the Counting Instruments logo. Either that or they want to make sure that nobody else is nicking this. I did actually find a court proceeding online where they were being sued by another company for allegedly nicking a design. Looking down the empty barrel, you can see the shelves that all of the separate components sit on, and the space in between them worked out quite precisely. It's no trivial thing to make this, so I think the best thing to do now is clean it and figure out a way to light this up. And it only seems right to use something else out of my 99p box. This is a uniselector. It's a mechanical multiplexer. It's got one common input, and as the relay switches the ratchet, it moves the contact around these terminals on the outside, and you've got 25 terminals on the full semicircle. Then the opposite contact comes across and contacts the row below, meaning that there's 50 contacts switched in one full cycle. Handily, someone's already soldered all these together, so all I have to do is chop them up into blocks of 5, and you'll be able to switch the power between the 10 different bulbs. I'm using my electromagnetic switch module to bump up an LFO to 24 volts, which is what's needed to switch the relay in the uniselector. This contact here is the common terminal between all the bulbs, and all I've got to do now is just wire it up. I'll admit it's a pretty janky setup, but it works pretty good, I think. You can see the power on the bulb dipping as the relay draws a load of current. And don't talk to me about spark suppressed capacitors. You'll notice that because the bulbs don't immediately turn on and off, there is a kind of dissolving effect between the numbers, which is nice. Now you should look away if these kind of things make you squeamish, but while it was all apart, I did take the opportunity to scribe in some of my own symbols on those blank corner masks, if you remember that. This is a lot harder than it seems because the actual symbol that I was scribing was only a couple of millimeters across. Seeing as I'm going to donate this one to this museum is not obsolete, I thought I'd do a nice Captain Transistor, the museum mascot. I did also try some red bulbs that I had. They didn't fit in very well, so some of them don't work, but I quite like the effect. And I've seen some of these made for fruit machines what had coloured filters inside. Nice to get these old things working again.